Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here. And Project Veritas has now started to put out a new video series based in what is going on at New York City funeral homes. And a lot of you guys in the comments section yesterday were asking me what I thought about it. I had not heard about it yet, so I wanted to see the videos. And then I can't tell you how many people sent me the Twitter videos. And that's going to be important a little later on. I want to remind everybody before we get going on this very, very important video that I am 100% demonetized on this platform without explanation. On the 6th, I will be able to have them review my channel. I'm not hopeful, I'll be honest. The only time I've ever had them review content, they just ignored me. And that was when Louis Gohmert, during the impeachment hearings, dare say the real name of the supposed whistleblower, Erica Caramello Bar. If you do that, apparently you just don't get a response. And I didn't even get a form letter as to why my content was supposedly harmful, zero copyright strikes, etc. And just so you know, we'll be doing a video later on about David Icke now being thrown off of Facebook. And that's where I want to begin here, because I don't agree with everything David Icke says. I think he should have a platform on Facebook. James O'Keefe is another guy. Guess what? I don't believe everything he and his news network puts out is not only accurate, but not even skewed. That doesn't mean I don't think his voice should be heard, or that his network should not exist, or that the rules should be skewed against his favor. In fact, I'm against all of that on principle. More speech equals better speech. So let's get back to this story. Has James O'Keefe blown the lid off of people basically putting down COVID-19 as the reason of death, right, when it is not? Well, I would say on some level, it certainly appears that not all of these death certificates, according to the people that he has interviewed, are valid. And I am willing to accept that. I just want everybody to know that I don't really have a dog in this race. I've tried to be as honest as possible, but you're probably not going to like what I have to say about the whole thing. Nobody sent me the YouTube video. Not one of you. Not one of you. Every single person that sent me this, and it was quite a few, was the 2-minute version that was cut up here. Okay, they sent me a Twitter link. They had me showing that James O'Keefe saw that his retweets were down. And listen, I'm against Twitter censorship. This was the one I got the most right here. The 2-minute and 9 section. Now, immediately I thought to myself, well, I'd like to hear a little bit more. I'd love to hear the entire interview. Okay, and that's number one. All of these people, I would like to hear from the time that they picked up the phone to the time they hung up. I want the full context. I don't think that's too much to ask. Why? Because during this, the gentleman behind me, and we're going to play the clip, clearly says one of the reasons that they do this, and of course there's other reasons insinuated, we'll get into those as well, is that they're overwhelmed. In other words, they're having more and more deaths than ever before. And I'm not sure I'm going to play this part of the clip, but he also mentions, and by the way, why don't I put this in there for everybody to check out before we get into it. He also states, and this is in the live stream chat, guys, if you want to see it, that's the full video. He also states that they are no longer what? Picking bodies up at homes. Wait, what do you mean picking bodies up at homes? Aside from the people that were dying in hospitals, okay, and nursing homes, they were picking up to 280 bodies a day from New York City homes. Now, here's where some of the confusion may be coming in. I've played this several times. I really can't play it because there is one, pending. Basically, it's not a copyright strike, but a claim on me playing something on this. And the Schaefer Funeral Home, which we're about to go to another director, I think there's 5 of these funeral homes, basically goes through, I'm going to clip off the audio here, but you can see this gentleman here, and this is a representative of Schaefer, okay, this guy right here, and he basically goes through how they're actually doing the death certificates and how it's taking 1 to 3 days for them to get a death certificate. Now, according to this gentleman, It wasn't like they were just putting down COVID-19 as the cause of death. Now, several other people are saying something different from other funeral homes, and then the one person from his funeral home, right? This other man right here seems to be a director. I have no reason to think that he is not. Says yes. It seems like we're being pressured to do so, and a lot of them think it's about money. And that could very well be the case. Remember, Trump even yesterday talked about McConnell's plan to have New York State declare bankruptcy. Folks, I don't even know what that looks like. That would be ultra devastating. But here's the point I've been making the entire time, guys. There are people dying, and they're dying of something en masse, more than they were before. And these funeral homes are overwhelmed. And I noticed that nobody picked up on that, and it wasn't in the shortened version or exuded. So again, tell me why so many people are dying, for instance, and they're finding corpses, okay, that are not refrigerated outside of funeral homes in New York and Brooklyn, right? In U-Hauls, if there's not an excess of people dying. But I'm going to let you, again, this is Veritas' stuff, so I'm be very careful with it. I'm going to let you listen to it for yourself.
Bing, bang, it's all done. But now if you don't have a private doctor and you are on any medical care, they're automatically putting down on the death certificate COVID-19. Because
all right, so right there's the private doctor. So you have the private doctor angle. Now, when you say private doctor, what does that mean? That means that, yeah, maybe they are going to get a payment that they would not. Now, he's not going to go the route that this is a conspiracy how should I say this? For this guy to make more money, but he will admit that it is padding the numbers, okay?
they don't want to go. They're so overwhelmed, A, and B, they're not going out to houses anymore.
So notice that. He says, A, all right, they're overwhelmed. In other words, a lot of people are dying, guys, okay? And then B, what? They're not going out to the houses. So they're still overwhelmed, but they're not doing those home ones. Remember, that was the National Guard picking up bodies from homes and putting them in enterprise rent-a-cars, okay?
Go out to the house. They would investigate the scene. They would do some, testing at the scene and then come up with a conclusion as to he had heart disease. But now they're putting everything.
So I want to make that clear. What he's saying there is previously when they were getting picked up, it would seem, and remember this article from his same funeral home in Schaefer, the Schaefer funeral homes. I believe, again, there's 5 of these. This same article, he's saying that they were doing essentially what I just showed you, okay? But it seems like they may not be doing that anymore. This is on the 10th, and apparently this interview with this gentleman is from the 16th, which to me is very dated, especially if it comes out yesterday. It's 2 weeks old. I want more and newer information, and we're going to give you some of that.
Is COVID-19, so they're padding the numbers that are making it look like, yes, we do have a lot of deaths. I'm not going to say we have been overwhelmed with them, but
bam. So there you go. He goes, I'm not going to lie, we're overwhelmed with deaths. And believe me, I want the validity, the real number of how many are actually COVID-19 and are not. 1,000%. But then to go and act like, everything I've been saying about this is false and I've been disproven is upsetting to me. Because I've been as honest as humanly possible. And, a lot of you guys that are part of the Burmese Brigade that have been here for a while will know that Dr. Steinman has been troll-esque in the comments. And I don't like commenting on people that are, anonymous keyboard warriors. But for the most part, even if you say that I got schooled by James Corbett, all that stuff, that doesn't matter to me. When you start lying about me, that's when I ban you. Okay, so yesterday, I think it was yesterday, in the comment section, he said that I didn't have any actual nurse sources on the ground, and basically my sources were third-hand or worse. That's not true. When I tell you I'm talking to a nurse directly at Stony Brook, or a nurse directly in Queens, or a medical professional in Brooklyn, I am. And that's why right now, I want to read from my Stony Brook contact, and this is from last Sunday. I want to make that very clear. So 5 days ago. All right. And I had sent her the video of the nurse that some media outlets wrongly, and I saw this tweeted all over, said she was a New York City nurse on the front line. Clearly, in the first 2 minutes, this woman says she is not a New York City on the front line, and that she's talking to her nurse friend who's been sent to New York City on the front line. In other words, one of the imported nurses. And she talks a lot about how basically they're killing people on ventilators. But she says it's purposely, you go watch it for yourself. It's been banned on a lot of platforms, but I know many of you know what I'm talking about. So just to make this clear, on Sunday, it says 12:06 on the timestamp, I sent her the video, and I said, because she was saying that they were almost out of ventilators, and I said, that's not how they're portraying it on the news, saying you guys have more than enough. And this is the Stony Brook girl, okay? And again, this isn't just somebody, first of all, most mainstream media sources, when they're quoting people, what they'll do, like in my case, they'll find a nurse or a medical professional that's on the front line, they'll interview them. I actually know these people, okay? When a journalist doesn't, they don't know the integrity of a person they're asking. I worked side by side in some pretty wall-to-wall conditions, some novel conditions with these girls in a very busy bar situation. Okay, I'm just saying that. So I trust them. They have no reason to lie to me. So I said, if you have 10 minutes, I would love to get your take on what this woman is saying. And this is the Sarah woman. Okay? So again, this is a firsthand source who I know I've spent time with. No reason to lie to me. She says, they're also saying we have enough PPE, which isn't the case either. All these people saying this are people who do not work in healthcare and wouldn't know. I listened to 2 minutes of that video and I had to stop because it is entirely false and pisses me off. Me, the other doctors and nurses in the hospitals are working, and in caps, tirelessly to save these patients. We are doing everything. And no, we're not just intubating them after 6L nasal cannula. These videos I see are coming from people who aren't even on the front lines, and I can't trust she's telling the story of her friend she is. The conspiracies are insulting to us all who are working so hard. I don't mean to come off nasty about this. We are just working so hard, and work has become extremely stressful because we're seeing people we couldn't save every single day, and there's nothing else we can do. This is the most physically and emotionally taxing time for healthcare workers in every one of their careers, and it's people like the ones in that video that wouldn't last one day in our positions. I go, no, I want your honest opinion. Believe me, I am constantly going at it with people who don't even think this is a real thing, etc. And she goes, it's insane to me people think that. It's like a slap in the face. And I understand that. So, look, I'm glad O'Keefe put this stuff out, because if any of the death certificates are being falsified for any reason, we need to know that. Now, I think many people at the end of the day just are not going to accept that this was a real thing or that there was a multitude of people that died from it until we get the yearly death count, and it clearly shows that in New York there were 180,000 deaths this year, or 185,000 deaths. For those that don't know, we've been showing the averages from like 2016, 17, 15, and they're between about 153 and 155,000. So I would hope that if a year or two from now, when the numbers finally come out and we get a full year's death and it's 20 to 30,000 more, people will realize, well, yeah, no, something was going on there. Jason wasn't just making it up. And again, it's not a mutually exclusive thing where I feel like the lockdown is the answer, right? Or the vaccine is the answer. It's not. Okay? So another non-mutually exclusive idea is that somehow, James O'Keefe has now proven this to be a total hoax, instead of saying, all right, well, obviously there are a lot of deaths here and there may be people taking financial advantage. The private doctors in particular, but the states may have a motivation because Trump is saying now, and it was McConnell that suggested it first, and remember, Cuomo's been talking about it, that New York State may have to go bankrupt. And I want to remind people that although, Project Veritas is out there and they've done some really good work, they've also worked with Eric Prince. And yet, I know a lot of people love Eric Prince because he's on the Breitbart radio and he's the one that exposed that Hillary Clinton possibly visited Epstein's Island 6 times. And hey, that's good information if it's true. And again, very well could be true. But Eric Prince is the founder of Blackwater. And you don't make private military groups without the help of the deep state, of the military industrial complex. And let's not just go over Blackwater, right? But how it had to morph into several different things before becoming Blackwater again. XC Services among them, right? Academy among them. And the idea of a privatized military that is accountable to no one is probably a bad idea. So I'm just putting it all out there, and I want to let people know that, this is the real deal. Okay, and this is really going on, and we have to be paying attention to it. And we should not suit facts to accommodate our worldviews. That's what I'm trying to put out there. So thumbs this video up, everybody. Make sure you're subscribed. Remember, fully demonetized on the channel. Can't make $1 here. No super chats. No nothing. Not on this channel. Oh no, it's harmful content. Never had a strike. Have no idea why it's harmful. I just showed you basically some alternative media with a little bit of critique on top of some mainstream media with a little bit of critique, talked about some real numbers. I'm a bad guy for doing that. And that's why I've got to really try to push every month to hit that $5,000 goal. We fell slightly short in month 10, but we got really well. We did well, and it was enough, and I want to thank everybody that's ever donated, that's ever shared a link of mine, all right, that's ever taken the time to watch one of my documentaries or look at one of the documents that I've gone over with you, okay? But this is how you can financially support me. This is news that, again, is not beholden to some ideology that wants to prop up conservatism, liberalism, socialism, communism, capitalism, or any other ism out there. I believe in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and being a good human being. And only the Constitution and Bill of Rights. Why? Because that was a document that knew it needed to be amended and knew that the governments would have to have limited powers. So if you can support me, please do it, guys. Remember, I am also on Twitter, and you can follow me there, but I am a documentary filmmaker. Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture are all free here as well. Follow me on Rockfin. You can create a free Rockfin account. We do exclusives over there Tuesday at noon live, and we are also on minds.com/Jason Burmis. I want to thank the Burmis Brigade for joining me. We need more speech, not less, and maybe I'll try to reach out to David Icke. I'd love to get Icke on my program so we could talk, because it's been years, probably been over a decade since I've interviewed the man, and I may not agree with him on everything coronavirus, or I may not agree with him on everything lizard people and beyond, but the man should have a voice, and he should not be, basically ghosted, right, unpersoned by social media giants such as Facebook. So I love you guys, and I'll see you on the flip side.